In today's lesson, we're going to discuss putting your money where your mouth is. Consumers these days are very, very smart. They are hypersensitive to marketing gimmicks and paranoid about being conned with slick advertisements and marketing garbage. This generation grew up with television and commercial advertisements that literally ruled the marketplace and human behavior. In doing so, they became inoculated to many of the psychological triggers that were a bit underhanded, but powerful nonetheless. They also can spot a con a mile away. So you have to be extra careful to be an honest and forthright business owner all the time. Always be honest and forthright. The payback, though, is that if you're squeaky clean and honest, not just the good features of your product, but the bad ones too, people will tend to value your opinion as a expert in the field more and more. You'll trigger a deep psychological appreciation of your honest behavior in a sea of dishonest merchandisers. That's why honesty has to be one of the top psychological triggers to implement when you're doing any type of online servicing or, well, just really in any business, period. It's not just online. So, what's the strategic plan here? Honesty is similar to authenticity, except it is a tad more straightforward. You can be authentic about who you are and still misrepresent the product you are selling based on your spotless image of personal integrity. Honesty in this case is to be truthful, plain and simple. We aren't talking about the truth that you would like to believe. It is about the truth of what the consumer would like to hear. For that, you need to have their best interest at heart at all times, and that's the role of honesty in your life altogether. You have to take into account that even though selling is about making money, if you sell something that ultimately dupes the consumer in any way, it'll come back to bite you completely in the end. It may take a while, but it'll come back eventually. In today's society, we're a society of a network climate. The payback, may be sooner than you think. Social networking sites are great sites to establish a presence and start cultivating a bigger contact list. You build a circle of friends that trust you and will listen to your status updates and news feeds. You develop more connections and groups. All these interactions need to have a degree of authenticity and honesty. When you post a link back to your site, you want to be sure it leads to your site in an honest way of doing business. Otherwise, the first person on the network, that gets scammed will send out a general message to all their friends to avoid you. And then those friends will turn around and do the same. Now, those friends in this case are all your potential customers. Once your reputation as an honest person is lost on a social networking site, most of your opportunities are gone at that point. This is particularly true if you seek to increase the number of clients in your list solely to market to them. There are instances when people send messages or post updates that are viewable by all their friends, that certain people are spammers or scammers and not to accept them as friends in the network. That's all it takes to get you silently blacklisted, even if your account remains current with that hosted site. So always seek to add value and bring an honest level of interaction to social networking places in particular. When you recommend a product, your product or someone else's, be sure they understand the relationship you have with the vendor, what you think of it in detail, and let them know if you are an expert or not. If the product has faults, don't shove them under the rug. It's more than likely the consumer, will pick up on those faults as objections, and if you leave them, unaddressed, you've lost the sale. So always address the faults and either reframe them to make them insignificant. If the fault is a major fault, just don't sell the product. Choice is yours. So, what are the psychological triggers? If you're honest with your sales presentation, people begin to open up to the possibility of buying more from you. It can also be a point of differentiation between you and your competitor. Have they dealt with this and found them less than honest? That's why they should buy from you instead. Honesty is something it's hard to come by and easy to lose. It has to be earned by continually willingness to, put the other person's interests before your own. People understand that great motivation to lie. It's self-gain. Lying, in this day and age is rampant, from politicians to, people that want to be a lover. People lie to get their way. Just like when you were little and your parents asked you, did you do your homework? And you lied to get out of having to do it. If our parents weren't particularly invested in teaching us the principles of honesty, that also came across. Like when they said, do as I say, not as I do. That basically told you it was okay to lie about your values because it was just a standard used to get other people to do what you want them to do. Otherwise, they would have taken the trouble to match their actions where their words went. They would have put their money where their mouth went instead of giving you a mixed message that it's okay to say one thing and do another. So then when you lie to others, you learn that it generally lets you off the hook. You don't have to explain that you really didn't feel like doing your homework or that the product you are selling has faults. That way, if no one objects or tries to verify your story, your lie eases the way to get you your way without much effort on your part to be honest about anything. So, it's also a form of laziness. The lack of effort, though, does come across to people eventually as, they do more business with you. They begin to realize that you are the type of person who also does what's in your own best interest. And once that message gets through, people pull away in disgust. You become completely untrustworthy. Anything you say after that is suspect. So while honesty is, easy to establish and maintain with a little effort, once you lose it, you lose the necessary trust to continue with the relationship, whether it's personal or business. And how does all this happen? Here, you will be surprised to find out that this interaction on a psychological basis is completely nonverbal. That's right. You may think you have to speak to tell a lie, but your actions are shouting it out loud and clear to your customers. It doesn't even have to be a black and white lie because people are sensitive to being lied to and conned. They will pick up on the nonverbal cues of your behavior and add two and two together to figure out that you are not trustworthy. They won't even bother confronting you because, after all, if you are a liar, you will deny it. So they will simply watch your behavior and make a judgment of you and then take their business elsewhere if they decide you aren't trustworthy. They may also decide to tell all their friends too, before they go. And this will trash your business. So to be perceived as an honest business person or just an honest person, period, takes more than just telling the truth. It takes putting someone else's interests above your own, specifically your customers' needs. It also takes a cultivation of behaviors that trigger the association of honesty in your customer's mind. So, how do you implement this effectively? One of the behaviors that suggests a cover up is when you have a website with too many glitzy image and flashy neon fonts. While it may be a way of attracting attention, it also gives off the aura of intentional distraction. Like you don't want someone to notice that the product isn't what it is. That's why some social networking sites like Facebook have very clean, crisp profile images with little extraneous hype or cluttered appearances. This is often referred to as a professional appearance. And with that moniker comes the suggestion that you are a person of integrity that does an honest business. So when you set up your website or whatever endeavor it is to portray an honest image versus one of an over commercialized, hyped up sales image that screams smoke and mirrors, the result will be that the people coming to your site will trust you more because you've kept your profile and site clean, crisp, understandable, and thus it triggers the idea that you are a professional, honest person. This isn't all inclusive. Next, you want to, be sure that the products you sell are exactly what you say they are and no less. This would even go for, any affiliate offer, for instance, that you would put up to have people sell on your behalf. If you associate with dishonest affiliates, that reputation comes back to you and can lose your customers. So you want to, investigate your sales affiliates and make sure that they are on the up and up. You should use a redirect page for each affiliate in the event you need to pull an offer because one of your customer complains of dishonest practices. This way you can change one redirect page and keep all the links on your website still pointing to that page. This is the quickest way to keep control of the affiliates you advertise without having to search through each web page in your site for where you've added a particular affiliate link. And it keeps your site honest when you can pull off a bad offer at the first whiff of trouble. Make sure your copy doesn't have any small white lies or, outright exaggerations. While it may seem unnoticeable to you, people pick up on this very quickly, and it can quickly discredit the rest of your offer. The same is true of your affiliate offers. Make sure, they are selling exactly what they say they are selling in the copy. If you have a product that you think is good but has an obvious flaw, just be sure to let your customers know the flaw exists. You can use marketing strategies to minimize or reframe the flaw, but definitely mention it. If you don't mention it, the customer will figure it out and keep it as an unaddressed objection in their mind that will kill the sale every time. It's much better to be forthright about the flaws than to ignore them altogether. If you're not sure how the copy reads, why not test it out on someone? Just ask them to read the copy and tell you what they think. Don't be scared to find out what somebody would really say. You can even try this approach and use a white liar exaggeration and see how easily people pick up on the deception. If you want to portray an image of honesty, there's no real way to do it other than having some integrity, period. So let's talk about timing the strategy. You have to be honest in all your dealings, not just in presentations of your website or product. If you promise to have things delivered within 72 hours, then do everything in your power to keep that promise. Don't try to get orders by lying, or it will end up making you look bad in the end. If you run out of, product and need to substitute with another, make sure the customer knows and agrees before you send it out, or provide them with a refund. It's almost always better to provide a refund with no questions asked, even if the person is dishonest and used the product. The reason for this is that a dishonest person will likely try to ruin your reputation, even if they don't get their money back. An honest person will, deserve their money back typically. So in terms of customer service, always make the customer happy regardless, whether they are honest or dishonest. On the other hand, you yourself need to be a paragon of honesty to maintain your business reputation at all times. The bottom line with this strategy is no shenanigans. Don't ever try to pull shenanigans over your client's eyes. Um, be that potential clients, through the process of suspect, prospect, lead, customer. It never works. At the end of the day, people are very keen to see through most of the BS nowadays. So take this little lesson learned, and if you have elements of distrust in the things that you're doing, figure out ways to reframe them and really portray that honesty and integrity for your business that people really want to see, especially in today's time. All right, that's it for this lesson. We'll see you on the next video.